At 8:35 in the morning, the bedroom still has one lamp on. Not bright. Not useful in any important way. Just a small pool of light near the edge of the bed, left there while the house moves from one responsibility to the next. The appointment is over for now. The first rush has passed. Somewhere beyond the room, a sink gives off the quiet sound of water settling in the pipes, and the counter still holds what was brought in too quickly: keys, a folded list, a bent grocery receipt with one corner pressed soft from someone's hand. The caregiver stands there for a moment before sitting down. Shoulders drop. Nothing changes very much. The next thing will still arrive. But for one breath, tiredness does not have to explain itself. It is only tiredness, resting beside a low lamp, near a receipt that proves the morning was carried. The morning has already been handled in pieces. A cup rinsed but not washed. A cabinet left slightly open. The small sound of a pill bottle being moved from one place to another, then moved again because it was not supposed to be forgotten. There are mornings that do not feel like mornings. They feel like a narrow hallway made of tasks. One thing after another. A coat found from the back of a chair. A phone checked for the appointment time. A car started before the body has quite arrived inside the day. By 8:35, the first part is over. Not finished. Only over. The appointment has become a receipt in the mind, something folded away because there is not enough room to feel all of it yet. The questions asked in the waiting room. The small nods. The way a caregiver learns to listen with a calm face, even when the chest is holding more than the face can show. Back home, the bedroom lamp is still on. It was probably left that way by accident. One small light beside the bed, pale against the morning. It does not fix the room. It only keeps a corner from going completely flat. The bed is not made with any care. The blanket has turned sideways. A shirt is near the footboard. The house has the quiet look of a place that had to move quickly before anyone had time to straighten it. Nothing is terrible. Nothing is peaceful either. It is only life, paused with its shoes still on. On the counter, the bent grocery receipt waits among the other small evidence of being needed. It is not important enough to save. Not important enough to throw away yet. There are printed lines on it, prices, a date, a store number, maybe the faint gray mark where a thumb pressed it too hard while carrying bags inside. Milk. Bread. Something soft enough for someone to eat. A bottle of juice. Maybe a pack of paper towels because the old one was almost gone. Ordinary things, bought without ceremony, placed into a cart under bright store lights while the mind was already halfway at the next appointment. The receipt bends where it was held. That is the thing about small papers. They remember pressure. A hand can crumple a receipt without meaning to. A person can stand at a counter, look at the total, sign the screen, say thank you to the cashier, and keep moving because the morning still has its list. Then later, when the house is quieter, that same paper can look like a little record of how much was carried without anyone making an announcement about it. The caregiver does not need to call it anything. There is the counter. There is the sink. There is the lamp in the other room. There is the body, still dressed for outside, standing inside the house again. For a moment, one hand rests beside the sink. The water is off. The faucet has one drop gathered at the edge, not falling yet. Somewhere in the walls, a pipe gives a low sound and becomes still. The refrigerator hums with its steady, ordinary patience. A drawer is not closed all the way. The shoulders drop before the mind gives permission. That kind of dropping can feel almost private, even in an empty room. It is not a decision. It is not relief exactly. It is the body telling the truth in a language too quiet to defend itself. Tired. That is all. Not failing. Not ungrateful. Not weak. Not behind. Only tired, in a kitchen after use, with one small paper bent on the counter and one lamp still keeping watch in the bedroom. There may be another call later. There may be another form to read, another message to answer, another bag to unpack. Care has a way of stretching itself across a day until the day has no clean edges left. Still, the hand stays there for one breath. Not long. Long enough for the cool counter to be felt under the wrist. Long enough for the sink to become a sink again, not a station between tasks. Long enough for the receipt to stop being only a reminder of money spent, and become something else. A small trace of effort. A little proof that someone kept going. No one claps for groceries placed in a cabinet. No one usually notices the appointment card slid into a purse, the extra snack bought because waiting rooms can run late, the quiet planning that happens while driving through morning traffic. But the receipt notices in its own paper way. It has been folded into the day. It has sat under the weight of a hand. It has crossed the space between store and home, between worry and usefulness, between the outside world and this counter where the body finally lets itself lower a little. The mercy is not dramatic. It is smaller than that. It is the lamp left on without meaning to. The edge of the bed waiting nearby. The kitchen standing half used, not asking to be perfect. The bent receipt lying there like a permission slip no one had to sign. For this one breath, tiredness is allowed to be true. And the morning keeps quiet around it. The grocery bag has already been emptied, but the room still remembers it. A thin plastic rustle near the trash can. A box turned sideways on the shelf. Bananas placed in the wrong spot because there was not time to think about where anything belonged. The refrigerator door has been opened and closed twice, and the cold air has come out over the floor in short, tired breaths. The kitchen after use has its own kind of honesty. It does not pretend the morning was graceful. It holds the crumbs near the toaster. It holds the damp ring where a glass sat too long. It holds the receipt on the counter, bent through the middle, with its printed lines curling a little at the edges. The caregiver stands there, still partly in the appointment. Not all the way home yet. The body is home. The shoes are on the floor. The keys have been dropped near the bowl by the door. But the mind is still in the parking lot, still remembering the office chair, still answering a question that has already been answered. That happens sometimes after care. A person can walk back into a house and still be carrying the white light of a waiting room. The clipboard. The insurance card. The small effort of sounding calm. The polite smile given to someone at the front desk, even while the morning was pressing from every side. Then there is this counter. This sink. This receipt. Nothing in the kitchen asks for a full explanation. The sink does not ask how the appointment went. The counter does not need the careful version. The lamp left on in the bedroom does not require anyone to stand straighter. The house, in its half-used way, lets the truth be smaller. A hand rests beside the sink again, almost without thought. The edge of the counter is cool. Not cold enough to startle. Just cool enough to remind the wrist that it is here, in this room, in this hour, not still gripping the steering wheel or holding a pen over a form. The shoulders lower. There is no speech for it. Only the quiet shape of a body that has been doing more than anyone could see. Maybe the appointment went fine. Maybe it did not. Maybe it was ordinary in the way hard things can become ordinary when they happen often enough. A blood pressure cuff. A list of medications. A calendar pulled up on a phone. A next date written down while the caregiver was already counting what else had to fit into the day. A receipt is such a small thing to keep. Most of the time, it gets shoved into a pocket or left in the bottom of a reusable bag. It fades without being noticed. It becomes paper lint, a little ghost of bread and milk and apples and whatever else was needed because someone in the house would need it later. But this one stays visible. Bent. Not special. Only present. And maybe that is why the eyes return to it. Not because it explains the morning, but because it does not ask the morning to be larger than it was. It simply lies there with its crease, its little numbers, its proof of errands done between responsibilities. Care often leaves marks like that. Not monuments. Not clean endings. Just the small evidence of having noticed what was missing and gone out to bring it back. Juice. Soup. A refill. The kind of crackers someone can manage when they do not want much. A roll of paper towels. A carton of eggs. Things that sound like nothing until they are not there. The caregiver sees the receipt and does not pick it up yet. There is something tender in leaving it where it is. For once, the paper does not have to be sorted. The counter does not have to be cleared. The day does not have to be made neat before the next part begins. The bedroom lamp is still on beyond the doorway. Its light is low, unnecessary, and somehow kind. It touches the edge of the bed, the rumpled blanket, the place where someone might sit for a minute before standing again. That small light changes the room. Not by much. Just enough. It makes the edge of the bed look less like a place where the morning was abandoned and more like a place where a person could return to themselves without making a ceremony of it. The caregiver walks there slowly, then stops halfway, still close enough to see the receipt on the counter. The house is quiet in layers now. Refrigerator hum. A faint settling in the pipes. Maybe a car passing outside. Maybe the soft click of heat or air coming on somewhere in the wall. The next responsibility is coming. It is always coming. But it has not arrived yet. In that narrow space, between the appointment behind and the next thing ahead, tiredness is not an argument. It does not need to be defended. It can stand in the kitchen with one hand on the counter. It can sit near the lamp. It can look at a bent grocery receipt and feel, for one breath, that being tired has not ruined anything. The morning is still here. So is the mercy. By the time the caregiver reaches the edge of the bed, the kitchen is still unfinished. That is how the morning remains connected to the room. A grocery receipt on the counter. A sink not fully dry. A cabinet with one door left open. A lamp beside the bed, still glowing in the late morning light as if it had not been told that daytime had started. The house does not divide itself neatly. The bedroom carries the kitchen. The kitchen carries the appointment. The appointment carries the road and the parking lot and the little pause before walking through another set of automatic doors. So the caregiver sits down slowly. Not heavily. Not dramatically. Just enough for the mattress to give under the body, enough for the shoulders to understand that, for this 1 minute, no one is asking them to hold their place. The lamp is low beside the bed. Its shade has a small line of dust near the seam. The switch is turned the same way it always is. Nothing about it is special. It is probably the kind of lamp that has been knocked once by a laundry basket, moved aside for a stack of papers, left on during phone calls, leaned toward during nights when someone had to write down a time or a number before forgetting. This morning, it is only there. That can be enough. Across the hall, the house makes its small sounds. Pipes. Refrigerator. A faint shifting from the room where the day was interrupted too early. The sounds do not gather into anything that needs answering yet. They pass through the background like ordinary breath. The caregiver looks down at one hand. There is a faint mark where the grocery bag handle pressed into the fingers. A little red line, almost gone. The kind of mark that disappears before anyone else could notice it. Most care is like that. It leaves before it can be seen. A hand lifts a bag, opens a door, reaches across a counter, signs a form, steadies a cup, fixes a blanket, checks a time, finds a receipt, remembers what someone else might need later. Then the hand opens again, empty, and the day goes on as though nothing much happened. But the body knows. The body keeps a quiet account. Not with blame. Not with bitterness. Only with weight. A little in the shoulders. A little behind the eyes. A little in the way the breath does not come all the way down until there is finally a chair, or a bed, or the cool edge of a counter. The bent receipt is still visible from the doorway if the caregiver turns a little. It lies where it was left, near the place where the hand had rested. Its crease catches the light from the kitchen window. Not strongly. Just enough to make the white paper look older than it is. A receipt is not soft. But it can hold a soft thing. It can hold the fact that someone stopped at the store because the pantry was getting thin. It can hold the fact that the appointment was not the only appointment in the day. It can hold the small mercy of something already done, something that does not need to be carried in the mind anymore. Bread is home. Milk is home. The small ordinary supplies are where they need to be. There is a tired comfort in that. The caregiver does not turn it into gratitude all at once. That would be too much. The morning is still too close. The next responsibility has not disappeared. It is waiting somewhere beyond the lamp, beyond the bed, beyond the quiet that is only open for a few minutes. Still, something loosens. Maybe it is the way the lamp remains on without asking why. Maybe it is the bed receiving the weight without comment. Maybe it is the receipt staying bent on the counter, plain and unimpressed, a little piece of proof that care happened here before anyone found words for it. The room feels smaller now. Not trapped. Smaller in a kinder way. The edge of the bed. The low lamp. The household sounds fading behind the wall. A morning that has not become easy, but has become less sharp for one breath. The caregiver lets the hand rest on the blanket. The fabric is wrinkled and cool. There is no need to smooth it yet. No need to stand immediately. No need to decide whether the receipt should be kept, thrown away, or folded into a wallet for later. For now, it can remain where it is. So can the tiredness. Not solved. Not hidden. Only allowed to sit in the same house as everything else. And in that permission, quiet as it is, the mercy stays near. The longer the caregiver sits there, the more the morning begins to separate into small pieces. Not into answers. Only pieces. The sound of the automatic doors opening at the clinic. The way the waiting room chair felt too low. The folded jacket on the lap. The name called from the doorway. The careful rising, the quiet gathering of the bag, the small nod that meant yes, we are ready, even when no one felt ready at all. Those moments do not leave right away. They come home inside the body. They stand in the kitchen near the sink. They wait beside the grocery receipt. They follow into the bedroom and settle near the lamp, not loud, not dramatic, only present in the way a morning can remain present after it has technically passed. The caregiver breathes once. Then again. The lamp keeps glowing beside the bed, although the day outside has already gone on without it. There is something almost forgiving about that. A lamp does not hurry to be appropriate. It does not know that morning light has entered the room. It simply stays on because someone left it that way in the rush. A small accident of kindness. The bed holds the caregiver's weight. The blanket stays wrinkled under one hand. The room is not arranged for rest, but it gives a little rest anyway. That may be the mercy of ordinary rooms. They do not need to be prepared before they can hold someone. Across the house, the receipt is still on the counter. It has not moved. In the mind, it becomes easy to see it there, bent near the sink, one corner curled upward, the store name printed in fading ink, the total sitting near the bottom like a number 2 plane to contain the morning. It is not a beautiful object. It is not meant to last. It is thin, temporary, easy to lose. Still, it has stayed. Maybe the caregiver remembers the cashier's voice. Maybe not the words, only the tone. Maybe there was a small pause while the card reader took too long, and the line behind moved closer, and the caregiver looked down at the cart, counting what had made it in and what had been forgotten. Apples. Soup. A sponge. Something mild for breakfast tomorrow. A receipt can hold the shape of thinking ahead. Not grand care. Not the kind anyone makes speeches about. Just the ordinary math of need. What is low? What will run out? What someone might ask for later? What can be carried with one hand while the other unlocks the door? Care is often made from that kind of noticing. Small, repeated, almost invisible. And sometimes the person doing the noticing does not realize how tired they are until the house becomes quiet enough to tell them. Not in a frightening way. Not as an emergency. Only as a soft fact arriving late. The shoulders knew first. They dropped near the counter before there were words. They dropped the way a bag drops when it is finally set on the floor. They drop the way a room goes quiet after the television has been turned off and the last sound fades into the walls. Now, sitting near the lamp, the caregiver feels that same lowering again. It does not make the day easier. But it makes the body less alone inside it. There is a difference between being tired and being accused by tiredness. This morning, for a moment, the tiredness has no sharp edge. It is not proof of failing. It is only the trace left by effort. A crease in the paper. A mark across the fingers. A lamp left on because everything moved too quickly. The house allows all of it to be ordinary. The open cabinet. The receipt. The quiet sink. The bed that was not made. The appointment card tucked somewhere in a bag. The phone face down, not forgotten, only resting for another minute. Outside the bedroom, life has not become still. There are things waiting. A call may come. A reminder may appear on the screen. Someone may need help finding something that was put in the wrong drawer. The day has not offered a clean break. Only this pause. Only this narrow room of time. The caregiver sits in it without naming it too much. One hand on the blanket. One lamp beside the bed. One receipt on the counter, bent from being carried. And somehow, in the plainness of those things, the morning softens. Not because it was easy. Because something in it was held. There is a quiet that comes after the first rush, and it is not the same as rest. Rest usually feels chosen. This does not. This is the quiet that arrives because the house has briefly run out of demands loud enough to reach the doorway. The appointment is behind. The grocery bag is emptied. The lamp is still on. The receipt is still bent on the counter, holding its crease as if it has been told to keep the shape of the morning. The caregiver sits at the edge of the bed and does not move. For a while, nothing asks to be named. The low lamp gives a tired kind of light. It does not belong fully to morning, and it does not belong fully to night. It feels left over from another hour, from before the car keys, before the appointment, before the grocery store aisle with its bright floor and its cold air near the milk. That leftover light is gentle. It lets the room stay unfinished. The blanket is still turned down. A shoe sits near the wall. The phone is close enough to be reached, but not in the hand. Somewhere beyond the bedroom, the kitchen holds the sink, the counter, the grocery receipt, the small line between what has already been done and what will need doing again. The caregiver knows that line well. Care does not always move forward like a road. Sometimes it circles. It returns to the same pill bottle, the same calendar square, the same note written on the back of an envelope. It returns to the same store for the same soft foods. It returns to the same questions, asked politely in rooms with paper-covered tables and hand sanitizer near the door. And still, somehow, a person keeps returning to. Not with a speech. With keys in hand. With a receipt in a pocket. With a bag lifted from the trunk. With a shoulder that holds itself up until it finally cannot, and then lowers beside the counter as if the body has found a little truth before the mind is caught up. The caregiver's hand rests on the blanket now. The fingers are loose. There is a small mercy in that, too. A hand that is not gripping. A hand that is not turning a doorknob, not holding a pen, not steadying a cup, not scrolling for the next instruction. Only resting on wrinkled fabric, feeling the room through the palm. The day waits outside this minute. It has not gone away. There may be another appointment to confirm. Another message to read carefully. Another question to answer in the calm voice that caregivers learn to use. There may be dishes in the sink, and a receipt that will later be checked, folded, thrown away, or left under a magnet until the ink fades. But not yet. The room holds its breath lightly. The caregiver looks toward the doorway, toward the part of the house where the counter is. The receipt cannot be seen clearly from here, but it is known. Its place is remembered. Near the sink. Bent once through the middle. A plain little thing, carrying no comfort on purpose. Maybe that is why it helps. It is not trying to be meaningful. It is only evidence. Evidence of milk bought, bread carried, a morning survived in small ordinary steps. Evidence that care does not always look like tenderness from the outside. Sometimes it looks like a total printed at the bottom of a receipt. Sometimes it looks like standing under store lights while the mind is somewhere else. Sometimes it looks like getting home and letting the shoulders fall. No one has to make that beautiful. It can stay plain. The lamp hums quietly, or maybe the room only seems to hum because everything else has gone soft. Household sound fades into the background. A pipe settles. The refrigerator begins again. A car passes on the street and then is gone. The caregiver breathes. The breath is not deep enough to change the day. It does not need to be. It only reaches the place where tiredness has been waiting, careful and quiet, unsure whether it was allowed to sit down. Now it sits. Near the bed. Near the lamp. Near the bent receipt across the house. For this one small space before the next responsibility arrives, tiredness is not corrected. It is not turned into courage. It is not asked to brighten itself into gratitude. It is simply allowed. And because it is allowed, something tender appears beside it. Not a solution. Only a mercy small enough to stay. Later, the receipt will be moved. Maybe into the trash. Maybe into a drawer with pens that do not work and coupons already expired. Maybe it will stay on the counter until the ink begins to fade and the paper curls a little more at the edge. For now, it remains. The lamp stays on beside the bed. The caregiver sits in its low light, with one hand resting open on the blanket and the house quieting in small, uneven sounds. Nothing has been solved. The next responsibility is still somewhere nearby, waiting with its ordinary face. But this minute has widened just enough for the tiredness to sit down without apology. That is all the mercy asks. Not to be noticed loudly. Only to be allowed near the body, near the lamp, near the bent grocery receipt that still remembers the morning. And for one breath, that is enough.